Welcome everyone, grace and peace to you all. As you have tuned in to the Creator Seed podcast, this is the space for all creators to gain insight and take action on their own life to see lasting success and fulfillment. And on the first episode of the Creator Seed podcast, I will be discussing what holds people back from starting anything in life. And I'm going to start off this topic by sharing a story that some of you that are listening may relate to. And in this story, the main character, let's call her Sarah, it was her first time hosting a dinner party for Christmas, and Sarah has never hosted an event before and she was very nervous to do it. So when Sarah first started, she spent weeks looking for inspiration and she struggled to find the perfect idea for her party. But after some time, she began putting together the decorations, the food, and the activities for her guests. So on the day of her dinner party, 10 guests had arrived, and different guests told Sarah about their comments concerning her dinner party. So the first guest came to Sarah and said to her, "I love the dinner that you made. The roast chicken was delicious." And as the guest was talking to Sarah, Sarah admitted that she followed a recipe book and she nearly burnt the chicken. And as she was explaining to the guest what happened before she hosted the dinner party, the guests laughed and even shared their own experience with making dinner for a previous party that they had hosted before. After speaking to the second guest, another guest came to Sarah and said to her, "The activity you came up with was so much fun. What gave you the inspiration?" Sarah said to the second guest that she remembered playing the game that she had hosted in the dinner party when she was younger with her siblings. And as Sarah was explaining the story behind the game that she came up with, the guests loved the story and even shared their own childhood memories with Sarah that they had experienced growing up. After the second guest came, another guest came and said to Sarah that the decorations you put together looked great. Are you experienced in decorating? And Sarah admitted to the guests that she used different decorations until she finally got the results that she wanted. And the guest was amazed by what Sarah had explained and even told Sarah that they don't even know how to decorate as well. And they wanted to learn from Sarah because they loved the way she put together the Christmas decorations. And you may be listening and you may be even wondering, what's the lesson behind this story, or what's the point of me even explaining this story, and how does it relate to holding people back in life? And the reason why I explain this story is that even when you don't know how to do something, at times you just have to start. Because when you start something, you will learn and you'll be able to improve as you go along. Just like Sarah, she never hosted a dinner party before, and as I've mentioned in the beginning, she was very nervous to start. But when she did start, she was able to get feedback from the other guests, and she was even able to relate to some of the people she was speaking to. And just like you, maybe you want to do something, and whether it's a business or you want to start a project, whatever it is in life that you want to start, the first time you do something may not be perfect, but you gain experience and you even gain feedback from others to do better in future. And for a lot of people, what holds them back from doing anything in life is the fear of failure. A lot of people, they're afraid to come across criticism. A lot of people, they have certain insecurities. A lot of people, they have lots of doubts. So for some people, even before they start something, they already have that fear or that image of failure in their mind, and they don't believe in their own abilities. And there are so many other reasons why a lot of people are afraid to start anything in life. But whether you are like Sarah and it's your first time hosting an event, or it's your first time starting a business, or even it's your first time starting anything in life, it can feel scary and overwhelming to begin. But And you may not even have the knowledge or the experience or even the expertise. Maybe if, let's say you want to start a business and you're looking at all the other businesses out there, whether you want to start a business in the entertainment industry, or you want to start selling a product that is very popular, and you're looking at the other competitions out there and you're feeling like you may not have the level of knowledge, or you may not have the level of experience and expertise as other people who have already started in the industry that you want to work in. But you won't know how the journey will look like until you start. Even me myself, when I first started my business, I had different thoughts about how the business would go and what my story would look like. But despite the thoughts that I had, I still decided to start, and just to give a little bit of a backstory of who I am, I'm a marketing student, so I do marketing in fashion, but I do business as well. I'm an entrepreneur, and having a new business, there's a lot I do know a bit about business because, of course, being a marketing student and with all the projects that we're doing and the assignments that we're doing in class, it gives me a bit of experience on learning about the business industry. And now starting a business of my own, I'm gaining experience as I go along. But when I first started, I didn't have all the knowledge. I wasn't as experienced as people like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or even any other business owner in the world. And if you're thinking about making an account for your social media, whether you want to be a content creator, you want to be a social media manager, or whatever job you want to start doing, whether you're a freelancer or maybe you're doing a job already but you want to earn a little bit more income and you want to start posting content for your social media, post the content. Whether you are thinking about becoming a health coach, share your knowledge with people. If you're thinking about becoming a designer, whether it's a fashion designer, a web designer, a graphic designer, make the first draft. If you're thinking about making a dinner party like Sarah, plan your events. A lot of people, the first step that they have to take in order to start whatever it is that they're planning to do, a lot of people are afraid to take that initiative, but you will never know what the journey will look like. You will never know what your life would look like 6 months from now, 3 months from now, 1 year from now, until you start. A lot of the times, a lot of people, they look at the journey, they look at the end result, but they don't know what that path will look like. A lot of the times we make up lots of thoughts in our mind. A lot of people are very scared or very nervous to do something, especially if no one around them has done it before. Maybe as you're listening to this podcast, as you're listening to this episode, maybe no one in your family or none of your friends or anyone around you has ever started a business. Maybe you're the only person who has that level of boldness to share your story on social media, a story that people can relate to, a story that can inspire people, that can move the masses. Maybe you're somebody who you want to do something, but there's a lot of things that are holding you back. But truly and honestly, the things that you believe that are holding you back, they're not actually holding you back, because nothing in this world is bigger than you. And even as I've started this podcast, when you look at the name of the podcast, The Creator Seed, every human being has a seed that was planted in them by God. In the beginning, in the Bible, when you read the book of Genesis, God said to Adam and Eve to be fruitful, to multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and have dominion. When you look at the first statement that God said, to be fruitful and even forget about the multiply part. When God said to be fruitful, when you think about a fruit is a living organism whose seed is in itself. And just like just like an apple has a seed in itself, just like a pear has a seed in itself, we, the human beings, whether you're a man or you're a woman, you have a seed that was planted within you, and that seed was planted by God. God has planted a seed in every human being. God has planted a seed in every individual, and that seed is meant to produce a fruit. And that seed may not look the same as another person. Maybe my seed may be that I'm very creative and I'm good at crafting ideas and putting together different creative materials. Maybe another person, their seed might be that they're very good at communicating. So they could be a good public speaker. They could be a good therapist. They could be a good counselor. Maybe another person's seed, they're very good at writing. So they could be an author. They could become a journalist. It doesn't matter whatever seed you have, because that was the seed that God placed inside of you. What matters the most is the fact that you are using that seed to produce fruit. You are being productive. You are becoming more of who God created you to be. And it ties to the message of this episode about starting. Don't be afraid to start whatever it is that God has placed inside of you to start. And I know I'm talking a lot about God, but whether you're a believer or you're an unbeliever, whether you're a Christian, whatever religion you have, whatever religion you believe in, whether you're a Muslim, Hindu, whatever it may be, every human being on this earth has a seed that was planted in them. And you shouldn't be afraid to start whatever it is that you have desire to start. Even if you're going to face criticism, even if you're going to face obstacles, that is part of the journey. And a lot of people, when they face criticism, when they face difficulties, when they face challenges, they may feel like they're going in the wrong direction, but oftentimes it means that you're going in the right direction. And those challenges, those experiences that you have to face in your journey are what's going to help make your story. Even me, myself, I face certain difficulties and certain challenges in my journey of being an entrepreneur. Even though I am still new, what I've gone through and what I am still going through in my journey, it's part of my story. So just like you, whatever situation you're facing, whatever challenges you may be dealing with, it's part of your story. You may not know what that journey will look like. You may not know what lies ahead. But how would you know if you don't start? How would you know what your life is going to look like 1 year from now until you start? We're in the month of December. We only have a couple of days, not a couple of days. We have a few weeks left until we enter into 2025. Whether you're thinking about starting a business, maybe you're thinking about posting content on social media, maybe you have an idea that you may think will be very beneficial to people, do it. Because no one will know who you are until you put yourself out there. And when you put yourself out there, people will know who you are. People will know what value you can provide for them. So that's just the main sum of the story. And, I hope that the story that I shared with Sarah and even about myself can be able to inspire someone to start whatever it is that they've been thinking to start. And don't be afraid. Even when I'm starting this podcast, like I'm naturally an introvert, but I want to share what I feel can be helpful to people. I want to share messages that will motivate people, not even just motivate people, but will drive people, will inspire that fire inside someone to take action on their life, which is the main purpose of this podcast, by the way. And even as I'm starting this podcast, the way I'm speaking, the way I'm talking, I know it's not perfect, but I know as I progress, the more I'm making this content, the more I speak on this podcast, the more I'm speaking on this microphone, I know that I will get better. I don't even have all the official setup. Some podcasts that you see on TV, on YouTube, on TikTok, Instagram, you can see some people, they have lots of equipment, they have lots of gears, and they have everything set up so well. But some of those people, when they first started, they didn't have all those equipment. Some people, they didn't have all the money that they had to start a podcast or to start a YouTube channel. I'm starting this podcast using my iPhone. with an app. I don't have a camera to record myself at the moment. I don't have a £500 or £1,000 microphone in front of me to speak and make this podcast. But I started, and I'm using my own self and also the story that I mentioned in the beginning. I'm using those stories to share with people and to make people know that even if you don't have everything, just start. You don't need to have everything perfect before you begin. When you just start with what you have, as you progress, you can be able to gain the knowledge, the experience, the resources that you will need in order to become better. But just start, and I'm really hoping that as I've shared this story, that it will be able to help somebody. And whether you're thinking about doing something, starting a project, whatever idea, whatever desire, whatever plan or vision that you have in your mind that you want to start, I'm going to be that encouragement. I'm going to be that first person, or even an addition to the people that have spoken to you, if they've spoken to you. Or maybe even there's a voice in your head that has told you to do something. Maybe this podcast that you're listening to can be that confirmation for you to do something. Don't be afraid. Like I've said, as I've started this podcast, I know the first episode is not perfect, but I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I'm not even afraid to have a little bit of bumps in my speech, because I know that as I progress, as I continue to make more episodes, I know it's going to get better. And I know you're going to be addicted to listening to me as time progresses. But as I've said in the beginning, don't be afraid to do something. Don't be afraid to start. Don't be afraid of criticism. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. A lot of us that have gone to school, the education system teaches a lot of students that when they make mistakes, that it's bad. But in life, when you make mistakes, that's what helps you to learn. Making mistakes is what helps you to learn. Making mistakes is what helps you to gain experience. Of course, you don't want to make the same mistake over and over and over again, but you want to be able to make a mistake and then learn from it. You want to be able to make a bad choice and be able to learn from that in order to make a better choice in future, to make a better decision in future. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid of facing challenges, because when you're able to conquer those challenges, when you're able to overcome those mistakes, that's what makes you to become better. That's what makes you to improve, and you become a master of your craft, doing something over and over and over again until it becomes effortless, until it gets to the point where you can even do it in your sleep. So just like Sarah started the dinner party even when she didn't know what to do, even when she didn't have any previous experience, just like I've started a business and I started a podcast even as I haven't had any previous experience in the business industry, although I am a marketing student, but theory and practical are very different. So, but I took the initiative, I took the opportunity, and I took the initiative to start. So I want to be that encouragement to you, for you to start and for you to begin in your journey, whatever it is that you want to start. Take that initiative, take that step, take that leap of faith, and do what it is that you have desired to do. Because your vision, your ideas can be a benefit to someone else. Your ideas, your vision can help somebody, can change someone's life, whether it's a product that you're selling, a service, whatever it is that you're going to be doing. It can be an inspiration. It can be a value to someone else's life, and you won't know that until you start it. So I don't want to keep repeating myself over and over again, but I hope you enjoyed the first episode of this podcast. And don't forget to follow my social media platforms. If you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, or you're a creator, and you want to learn about content marketing, you want to learn about sales strategies, and you want to learn about branding, you can follow my Instagram at Digital Design Creator. And if you are hosting an event, just like Sarah, and you're in need of an invitation, I sell invitation templates. That's the business that I'm doing. Apart from sharing the business education, I also sell invitation templates. So I sell bridal shower invitations, baby shower invitations on my website, and you can access my website through my Instagram, also my Pinterest. My Pinterest account name is The Digital Design Creator. So it's the same as my Instagram, but THE at the beginning. Or you can even go straight to my website at digitaldesignCreator.com, and you can visit the invitation shop to purchase your own invitation templates. And they're editable, they're easy to customize. You can share them digitally to friends and family, or you can print them out on your own printer or through a printing service. And you can be able to share special memories and special moments with guests. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the first episode, and I look forward to creating another podcast episode, and I hope you enjoyed the first episode. And